Well, thanks so much for the opportunity to get to tell you about what happened at the school board meeting last night. We were invited several months ago by Superintendent Matt Turner. We were sent out an email inviting us to come speak with the school board members. And the intent of that is, we quote, an informal conversation with Matt, members of his administration, and members of the Board of Education. We were given the date on when it was to be. And from my understanding of this, we were going to talk about some initiatives, successes, and challenges, hear questions and concerns. And the primary goal of the meeting was to establish rapport. It was communicated to us that Matt wanted us to be able to call them when they've got questions and vice versa. So in good faith, I attended this meeting thinking it was, as what was sent to me, an informal meeting to really work on the relationships, which admittedly are rocky, with our Board of Education. I'm our school board. And so, we went, and I was looking forward to, great, let's have a reset. What are the things that we can agree on? What can we do? And when I walked in to this informal meeting, I saw there were 2 Boone County sheriffs there. I saw all the school board members were set up and dressed up for obviously an event, all with their nameplates out. It seemed to me more like it was a public meeting than an informal meeting to address the objectives that were sent to us. Even the setup of the room seemed to me to be adversarial, where you have the school board members set up on one side of kind of this large parallel row of tables, and with the legislators halfway across the room sitting there. And what was striking to me is one of the first people I saw was a registered lobbyist. So I asked him, are you an agent for tonight for the school board? And he said, nope. He's friends with Matt Turner. Matt asked him to be here. So are you here as a paid consultant? And the answer was yes. Then I found out from Matt, he could clearly see my surprise. I wasn't appropriately dressed for a formal event. I thought it was informal. And he could see my surprise and said, oh, yeah, this is a workshop. And I said, was the public invited? And he assured me they were. Now, there was a fair amount of people there, but I have no idea who they were or how they knew about it, because I don't know how this was pushed out. It was our understanding that this was a invitation extended to the legislators in Boone County and with the school board members. When we got there, we were all a little bit taken aback. At the very beginning, you hear Senator Schickel even say that this is not what we were expecting. And then they kind of did, I wouldn't even say it was a Q&A. We had a moderator who started off with some questions and let Senator Schickel respond, and Representative Rawlings, and then that quickly went to the school board. So for somebody who was to moderate, I surely felt that the time distribution was not managed very well. That's for sure. On that meeting, so I would say the content of it, what again was interesting, is that the school board members had an agenda, a printed agenda, and we were not given one. So we were a little bit blindsided as to what was coming at us. The moderator would ask questions, and the school board may or may not respond. The couple of times, and I'll speak for myself and not for Schickel and Rawlings and Senator Williams, but for myself, the only things that were specifically addressed to me, or I felt like I was allowed to respond to without having to interrupt my colleagues or kind of fight for some airtime, was certainly addressing the relationships. And when I said it's difficult for me to, how do we have a good rapport? How do we build this when nobody from this board has reached out to me to talk to me? You don't know anything about me, yet you espouse from the meetings, all these things, the beliefs that I supposedly hold, and you wouldn't know because you've never met me, you don't talk to me. And then I was accused of putting things on social media. I have never put anything about the school board on social media, ever. I did address Jesse Parks, and I thanked him. Actually, he, in a text where I had reached out to him after I'd heard some disparaging comments at the school board meeting, which I was not able to be at because I was in Frankfurt. I said, hey, if you got questions about this or concerns, please pick up the phone and call me. And he didn't really respond very well to that. And basically, he drew a line pretty quickly in the sand with me, with if I am not in agreement with him on full public school, fully funded preschool through kindergarten, then, that's his line in the sand and he's not willing really to work with me. And he had some choice things to say about me, but I appreciate his honesty. I must say, of all the school board members, at least he was direct and let me know his disdain. And I appreciate that. So at least I know what I'm facing. And nobody else from the school board bothered to respond to that. I also challenged them on, there's so much focus on the DEI and SEL, and we do all the social emotional learning and how to be nice to people. Yet when I was the only representative, the elected representative from Boone County that showed up and sat at that table with them at their regional school board meeting, they didn't really talk to me. Not even really. They wouldn't even make contact with me. They wouldn't engage with me. They wouldn't speak to me. And so I challenged them on that, said, are these the values that you are modeling for our children? And I got no response. So all I did get was that respect needs to go both ways. And I'm saying things on social media. I have not. But I didn't really feel like that was a place to have the back and forth. I was just letting them know the awareness that I'm concerned about if our school board officials cannot even peaceably work with people that you may disagree with and cannot see the benefits of how we can come together, because I believe that both sides really want Boone public schools to be the best schools that they can be. I think we're all in agreement on that. The reality is most people are going to choose public school for a variety of reasons. So why not make them better? The other issue I was able to address with them is in their last meeting, I was just clarifying, am I clear on what you said in the last school board meeting, that your standard benchmarks for proficiency in reading and writing are in the 40s? And I got quite a long answer from Karen on how these were just snapshots in time and this new system that they're using, this new way that they measure. And it was a lot of word salad with really not a lot of content in it. And again, I brought to, okay, but am I hearing you say that the benchmarks for success in Boone County for proficiency in reading and writing is in the 40s? Less than 50% are proficient in reading and writing. And that was confirmed. So that was disappointing to me. And then, the other things that we talked about were the funding of everything, giving teachers raises. Where are we on giving teachers raises? And when we are supportive of that. I am supportive that we reward teachers for the work that they do. I'm wondering, do we not have enough money because we spend so much money on RFID? Do we not have the money because we're spending on panorama surveys? Do we not have the money because we are buying all this curricula that we're renting basically year to year? And I was reprimanded by Karen saying, well, if you want the teachers to do it, they would need a sabbatical. They would need all this time off to recreate, to do all this curricula. It takes years and years and years. And basically, didn't even entertain that as a valid question. So those were some of the takeaways for me. And the rest of it kind of got off on different workforce issues and things like that. So that was kind of the gist. Again, not at all what any of us were anticipating. And, I won't speak for the other legislators, but I have spoken with them. And I think there's a consensus that we were not pleased with what happened last night, and would have looked for better outcomes, better objectives, and better goals. And for what we were sent, we don't believe those were met.
This is their bully tactics. I mean, currently there is a lawsuit against Matt Turner by one of his executive staff that she was mistreated. It's a civil rights lawsuit, apparently, that she's going to win, as far as what we've heard. And then Karen Bird, who sits at the head of the KSBA. The KSBA is known for not training our school board members to fully utilize their authority to help the community and advocate. They're being trained as a lobbying arm for KDE and KEA. And she's the president. These are their bully tactics. Not only are they doing it to the legislators, they do it to their families and the parents who speak up. Did you notice she called us the small vocal minority?
I did.
I mean, we're the only engaged parents. Parents don't know what's going on. There's an SBDM council member who's a parent representative at one of the schools. She had no idea there were surveys happening. She yelled at me and said there weren't. You better check on that. That's pretty much as involved as you can be as a parent in the community, is to sit on that council inside your child's school. And she had no idea. They lack transparency. I mean, they're just setting us all up so that they can achieve whatever this agenda is that they're all working for. It's disgusting.
Yeah, well, I didn't know as a participant in this meeting that it was open to the public. That was not my understanding. When I got there, I was told it was a workshop. So I'm just wondering, when we are struggling with busing, and they lamented about, bus drivers are having to do double runs and that they can't get people, and that teachers are stepping up and coming in early and busing kids before and after school. I appreciate that, but I'm wondering, was this meeting necessary to hire the Boone County sheriffs, to bring in a paid moderator, to pay all of those board members that were there last night for something that was kind of a train wreck and really didn't accomplish any goals? And I realize it probably wasn't a ton of money, but money's money. Why are we not spending it wisely? Why are we not doing it for the good of the kids? Certainly what happened last night was not for the good of the children or the Boone County schools. I don't know if the public knew about it. I don't know how they would have known about it. I don't know if it was pushed out. I just have more questions than I had before I walked in.
Yeah, their communication is not good. You have to go to their website to check out to see if there's any kind of special workshops or meetings. They do not communicate that at all. They do like to pat themselves on the back a lot and send it out in a newsletter through email to all the parents. You have to really go out there and look at the website every day to make sure that you're not missing anything.
They're literally using the playbook from Mao's China. I've been listening to some of that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's our schools. Our school system is practicing communism on all of us.
So I was actually looking forward to, like I said, a reset with the school board members. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. If anything, I think it further created more distrust, more, animosity. And that I don't think that's the way to go. I think that we need to work together. And I don't really see how that's happening. I'm not seeing any concessions from our school board members, which I'd like to see, or even a willingness to want to work with us. I felt like it was very confrontational and adversarial just from the setup of the room to kind of blindsiding us.
You can't work with narcissists, and they're essentially narcissistically abusing the community and our legislators. There is no working with those kind of people.
For speaking of my personal experience, of course, none of the board members addressed me except for Karen Bird, and I would say it was hostile at best. And, the only time that I heard from Maria Brown when I was surprised when she said how much schooling has changed, and there's certain things that we don't need to do anymore, like learning spelling, things like that. And sure, we all have phones and we all have spell check, but I think it's still important to be able to have basic reading, writing, communication skills. As a speech pathologist, I sure would hate to see a de-emphasis on effective reading strategies like using phonics. I would hate to see that we don't teach children, we don't see the importance of spelling and written expression, just assuming everything's going to be AI or, it's just on your computer and it's just things are different now.
I think we're on the precipice of a dramatic change in how we handle cognitive organization of information, our daily schedules. We all know AI. Microsoft is about to launch something where essentially it will integrate our calendars and our schedules and produce things that we don't have to spend our time doing mundane tasks. And I think memorization of facts, I teach some graduate courses, I don't have to memorize those, because they're going to look it up anyway. So I think memorization has a limitation, but the human creativity, and I think the critical thinking skills and things like that, they're very different than they were many years ago, and I think they will continue to change very, very quickly. I think how we do business, how we communicate, everything's changed, and I think that's hard for education. We at least K-12, we do better than we do in college with regards to rapidly changing how we educate our students, how we get them to think critically, assess knowledge will become so essential. Do we have data that we trust? How do we know we trust it? How do we know these sources are valid? So I think it's hard to compare, my parents graduated from Boone County High School in the 70s. It was different than it was. It was different when I graduated. I have 4 kids in the system now. It's going to be different when their kids graduate. I think I'm not sure we were any better than we were before necessarily. If I were testing spelling words, perhaps yes. math facts, perhaps yes. The ability to computate higher level in your math, maybe not. I just don't have the data to know comparatively what are we measuring those students. What we measure them on would be a differential outcome.
So I was a little disappointed to hear that. I don't agree with that. I wouldn't support that, but that was one of the things that she contributed last night. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you putting this out there and letting the public know what happens. You know, how many people had the opportunity to tune in last night or even knew about it and could really understand the dynamics of what was going on, certainly from our side, because I don't think there will be any reach out other than from you guys to the legislators. So thank you for that opportunity.
Well, at least the community can rely on the vocal minority to get the word out.
I just want to say, as a resident of Boone County for over 60 years, I'm active in the political realm, and I'm also active in the school board realm. And I have felt that these legislators are in touch with the community. They hold town halls everywhere. They reach out to their constituents. Karen Bird happens to be my representative on the board. She has never once reached out to me. I have reached out to them through emails. She's never responded. I don't feel that she speaks for her constituents, and I'm not quite sure if she's even talking with them. But I do know that in my time, I have spoken with many teachers who definitely deserve to be represented better by this board. Back in the day, they did create the curriculum, and it wasn't a burden on them and made them a part of the process. And I feel that even they have been taken out of it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you,
really
Marianne.
appreciate y'all so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a very small vocal minority, but we listen to them as well. And we've gotten some good insight from them, and we've implemented some changes in policies and practices.
You're welcome.